Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into the chaotic, absolutely thrilling 90-minute climax of the 2018 World Cup Group B finale. We're heading back to Kaliningrad, where tournament heavyweight Spain clashed with a fiercely, incredibly determined Morocco. And let me tell you, this match had literally everything. We're talking shocking blunders, spectacular goals, tempers completely boiling over, and a stoppage time climax that defied all mathematical probability. So, right off the bat, we have to ask ourselves, how exactly does a Moroccan team with absolutely nothing to lose push a World Cup giant to the very edge of disaster? I mean, this wasn't supposed to be a real contest, right? It was supposed to be a formality for Spain. But instead, what unfolded was a game of pure emotional and mathematical chaos that left millions of us completely breathless. To really get why this happened, we need to look at the wildly uneven stakes going into the night. On one hand, you have Spain. Their mission? Incredibly simple. Just avoid defeat, and you're guaranteed a spot in the last 16. On the other hand, you have Morocco. They came in with 0 points, 0 goals, and their elimination was already completely guaranteed. They were playing strictly for national pride. But, as we'll see, a team fighting solely for honor, they can sometimes be the absolute most dangerous opponent on the pitch. Now consider the number 600. Going into this match, and honestly throughout the entire 90 minutes, Spain did what Spain does best. They totally dominated the ball. They completed well over 600 passes. With their enviable squad depth, they totally expected to just control the tempo, suffocate any Moroccan resistance, and casually pass their way to victory. Well, Morocco definitely didn't read that script. Their fighting spirit was unbelievable, and it was perfectly embodied by Nourdine Amrabat. The match commentary hit the nail on the head, calling him a player always prepared to go to war for you. And that signaled right from the opening whistle that Morocco wasn't going to just roll over for these Spanish Titans. They were there for an absolute fight.
All right, Act 1, the first shock. Let's get right into the opening moments.
We're going to be tracking a pretty wild timeline of goals here. And as you can see, the chaos doesn't wait around. It kicks off right at the very beginning with a massive, uncharacteristic blunder just 14 minutes in. So in the 14th minute, Spain essentially becomes the author of their own downfall. Absolute confusion reigns between two absolute legends of the game, Sergio Ramos and Andrés Iniesta. It's a shocking mix-up right near the halfway line, and Khalid Boutaïb brilliantly steals the ball. He races forward, completely keeps his cool, and slides it right through the legs of David De Gea to stun everyone. Just like that, it's 1-0 Morocco. No way, right? But, Spain's magic is undeniable. Just 5 minutes later, order is swiftly restored. Iniesta, who is clearly desperate to redeem himself for that earlier mess, dances into the penalty box with just magical footwork. He perfectly tees up Isco, who blasts an emphatic equalizer past the keeper. It's 1-1, and millions of anxious Spanish fans can finally exhale. Moving on to Act 2, rising tensions and the phantom fourth team. This brings us to a really fascinating concept, the phantom team. You see, the World Cup plays its final group matches at the exact same time. So hundreds of miles away in Saransk, Portugal is playing Iran. And right before halftime, Portugal takes a 1-0 lead. Because of how ridiculously tight this group was, that single goal in a completely different city temporarily dropped Spain down to second place in real time. The pressure was literally compounding from all sides. Meanwhile, back on our pitch, Morocco's physical edge completely boils over. Feeling a deep sense of injustice from the refs and feeling that clock ticking down, they rock up 4 yellow cards in a frantic, brutal 10-minute window of fury. Da Costa goes in heavy on Isco, Bousoufa gets booked for dissent, Amrabat clashes with Ramos, and El Hamadi takes down Busquets. It was just a period of pure, unadulterated tension. But Morocco wasn't just being aggressive. They were incredibly dangerous with the ball. They came so agonizingly close to taking the lead again. We're talking about an absolute thunderbolt from Amrabat. He unleashed this incredible long-range strike that left De Gea completely stranded, only to watch it violently smash off the crossbar and bounce away. Spain was surviving entirely on borrowed time. That brings us to Act 3, the late drama, the chaotic climax. Fast forward to the 81st minute. Against all odds, and honestly totally against the run of Spain's 600-pass possession play, Morocco actually strikes again. Substitute Youssef En-Nesyri leaps brilliantly on a corner kick, rising higher than anyone else, and bullets a header directly into the net. 2-1 Morocco. The Moroccan fans in the stadium are literally sent into absolute delirium. With mere seconds ticking away, The realities for these two teams couldn't be more different. Spain is staring down the barrel of a complete nightmare, a humiliating defeat that could potentially knock them out of the whole tournament. On the flip side, Morocco is living an absolute dream, literally seconds away from securing their most famous World Cup victory in 20 years. So let's dive into this stoppage time madness. Spain wins a quick corner in the 91st minute. Iago Aspas beautifully flicks the ball in. But wait, the flag goes straight up for offside. Joy cut short. But then, the VAR booth, all the way in Moscow, reviews the play. They draw those digital lines, and incredibly, by the microscopic margin of a defender's shoulder playing him onside, the goal is awarded. Suddenly, we are tied up 2-2. And literally seconds later, the Phantom team strikes again. Over in Saransk, Iran gets a highly controversial stoppage time penalty against Portugal. And they score it. The match ends 1-1. That single kick of a ball, hundreds of miles away, instantly throws the entire Group B leaderboard into complete chaos one last time. The final math here is just mind-boggling. Because Iran tied Portugal, Spain and Portugal both finished the group stage perfectly tied on 5 points, and perfectly tied with a +1 goal difference. But, entirely thanks to Aspas's late VAR goal, Spain miraculously snatches first place based on one single tiebreaker, having scored exactly one more total goal than Portugal across their 3 games, 6-5. Unbelievable. When that final whistle finally blows, the contrasting scenes are just wild. Spain survives the scare by the thinnest, most microscopic of margins to advance. Meanwhile, a valiant, exhausted Morocco bows out. They leave feeling this complex mix of immense, justified pride in their performance, but also a really bitter, undeniable frustration over the officiating and VAR decisions that altered their historic night. Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder. When a heavy favorite's entire World Cup fate is decided by microscopic video reviews in a remote booth and by a referee's whistle blown hundreds of miles away, are you still just playing a sport, or are you ultimately just surviving a lottery? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.